Welcome to this week's episode of Mainly Moonology, and today we're having something a little bit different. My name is Aileen. I'm from Yasmin's team, and together with me is.
Nina Franks. Hi, Aileen.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Nina. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm super psyched to be here. So, today we are talking about something we've been working on in the last few months. And actually, Nina, this has been your project for the last year or so, right?
Right, absolutely. Yasmin and I created it together and the very beginning. And we always go through this co-creation process when we're creating something new. And it's just some kind of magic that happens when Yasmin and I get together. It's like this great creative energy comes out and it just works somehow. And when we put everything down in the plan on paper, we just knew we had this feeling of electricity
Mm-hmm.
running through our things, and we knew that we had something really special. Absolutely, it was going to change so many people's lives and help so many women. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was super exciting.
Okay, that's it was like a light bulb went off with all that electricity. Okay, that's very
Yeah,
very
you start off and there's this sort of general murkiness and cloudiness, and you're kind of grasping at a few threads and trying to find some kind of common way through it. And then that's like the messy part of the process. And you just keep going and you gradually get more and more clear, and then a few tweaks and a few more edits, and all of a sudden something perfect emerges. And it's so simple to do and yet so powerful. And it just doesn't need any further embellishment. It's just perfect as it is. And the core of the Moonology Manifesting Challenge has remained the same from the day that we committed to the plan until now. And it has a few more bells and whistles now, but pretty much it's when you get something so simple and so easy to do, but so powerful, why change it?
absolutely. Simplest is always better. Okay, now that we're
Yeah.
talking about the Moonology Manifesting Challenge, now the cycle looks a little bit different. Can you tell me what it looked like when you first launched it?
So when we first launched it, it was always we were looking at doing a challenge for some time, and then the reason why that came about is that for many years we've been getting the feedback that people had read Moonology or often been gifted the Moonology Oracle card deck or bought it themselves. And they love the idea of using the moon as a cosmic timer to assist with the manifesting process. But there was a little bit of trouble with interpretation and how does it apply to me, and how can I make it work for the things that I want to manifest. And we're all individuals. We have very different paths. Some people want to manifest something small. Some people want to manifest something very measurable, like, launching a business or bringing in more customers or developing more products. Whereas other people are looking really to make improvements in their life in much more subtle ways, much deeper ways. So Moonology is the book that started it all, that started this global phenomenon, this wave, this idea. And that was in 2016, this idea that everything you have is within you, and using the timing of the moon and this manifesting system and this law of attraction, you can connect to yourself, your own power, and use it to consciously create the life that you want. And that sounds like an amazing and very lofty concept. And the
Mm-hmm.
first thing people would do is say, but how? How do I do it? I've been to your new moon ceremony, your fire ceremony, your dark moon ritual, but how do I do it every day? Like, how do I apply it to this project I have on my dream board to make it work? I guess they were asking, how do we root it in very practical terms? And what are the very practical steps that we need to follow in order to bring this dream to life?
That's a really good translation of the book into something that you can really work with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
When I joined the team earlier this year, I think it was around 10,000 people in the Facebook group, and now we're around 13K. So that's
Mm.
absolutely it floors me whenever I think about
Phenomenal.
the amount of people in there. So you mentioned, Nina, earlier that you're working with the cycles. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and why it is important for people to time it the way they do? Because we start the Moonology Manifesting Challenge every new moon, just anticipating those cycles. So why do we do that, and why is it so important?
So the four main phases of the moon are, if you think about, just before the new moon is a dark moon. So it's just before the new moon appears. You have this dark moon period of kind of nothingness, really, and it's a really good time to just clear the decks, to clear the energies, to just say, okay, clean slate, clean, like fresh piece of paper. Let's start, see where we're at, and commit to a new plan. So when we do the challenge, we always start 7 days out from the new moon, and the reason why is because the key to, or one of the keys to manifesting successfully, is that you can't start with a full plate. If your mind is full of anxieties and you have the burden of weight, you're carrying the weight of hurt from the past, or that there's some injustice that's happened, or that a kind of a big worry that's looming over you, you have no space, no capacity to bring in the new. There's no room for new ideas. There's no room for new energy to come in. It's in a way, you're blocked, let's say.
Mm.
It's almost like having a cupboard, and when you open it, it's one of those joke cupboards. You see, you open it and everything just falls out on top of you. And that's a little bit like what happens when a lot of people first come into the challenges. They just have all this stuff, this overwhelm from life.
Mm.
And geez, life is difficult, life is
It
complex, and it
is.
is, hard to get through. So this is something that is just amazing for everyone to do. So the first part of the challenge really focuses on just emptying the cupboards. We do, is it the Maria Kondo method?
Mm-hmm, the Mary
We do
Kondo.
the clear out, the
Yes.
reorganization, and
Yes.
and by the time we get to the new moon, you've got a perfectly organized cupboard with everything in its right place.
Mm-hmm.
So when at the time of the new moon, this is the time to set your intentions using the Moonology method, because there's a way to set your intentions. And as the moon grows, and it's called the waxing cycle, which means it's growing from a new moon towards a full moon. This is the time when you go for your dreams. You commit to what you set your intentions to. You work really hard on it every day, and you make some progress. And we all know that at the time of the full moon, it's difficult to explain what happens, but everybody feels a lot more emotional, intention. Emotions run high. There's a bit more tension in the air.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be, it affects animals, it affects plants, it affects every living
Mm-hmm.
thing on our planet, even the tides,
Mm-hmm.
the oceans, bodies of water. So we know that the full moon has this very intense effect on everything, but we're not quite sure why. But that's for another podcast, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, from the time of the new moon to the full moon, this is when we really go for it, go
Mm.
for bringing our dreams to reality, bringing them alive and in our lives. By the time we get to the new moon, that's the time that we do the release, and we do a fire ceremony to release it all and say, okay, there are frustrations. We maybe haven't achieved everything we want to achieve, but we've made progress, and now we're just going to release. And between the full moon and the new moon is a time when you really take stock. You're grateful, you have gratitude for what you have, you're grateful for where you are, and you're charting your progress and preparing yourself for the next cycle. So that's how the Moonology manifesting system works with the moon phases as a cosmic timer. The moon takes roughly a month to track across from the first phase, which is the dark moon, through to the new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, and then the final quarter. And that is our cosmic timer for manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds very, very interesting. And I remember I heard you mentioned some of the processes from the Moonology challenge, and it's part of the 7 day process coming into play. You've mentioned some of them. Can you talk through the rest of them for me?
Sure. Well, initially, we actually were looking at a 30-day challenge, and we'd even considered a 90-day challenge, but that was too long. We looked at a 30-day challenge and we thought, well, it's a little bit intense, and people have to show up to the challenge every day. And it's difficult to make a 30-day commitment in life, to set
Mm.
aside an hour or two every day for 30 days. We're all so busy. We all have so much going on. So then we looked at 10 days, but then we thought actually 7 days is perfect because um, it is a little bit intense for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because you're looking to change your life. You're looking to adopt new habits and bed them down in your life. So you're looking at going from a certain way of doing things, of thinking about things, of approaching things, to completely different way of handling your dreams, your wishes, your intentions. So any change is going to be intense, but it's intense in a good way because you really feel, you really see, and you really know what's happening. You feel the changes, you see the changes, even within a short period of time, like 7 days, you actually see the changes happening within your life.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a magic about it, but really it's from within yourself, and we're all incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And part of moonology, one of the principal tenets of moonology, is that by working with the moon and by using this manifesting method, you're actually connecting with your own power. And it's that kind of inner roar that comes out, and I'm claiming this for myself. So we captured some of that in the challenge. So I'll kind of give you a little run through of each of the days and what we touch on. and
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, the first time we did this, it just blew our mind. Actually, in one of the challenges I'll talk about in a moment, we had so many video submissions that we were actually trending on Twitter across the whole world. It was
That's
incredible.
that was amazing.
So day one is clearing the energies. And we do this idea of having a contract with karma, in that you write down all of the things that you really need to release. And sometimes people are not quite ready to release some things. They're still processing. But there are other things they think, okay, well, it's out of my hands to change the situation. Therefore, I'm just going to surrender it. I'm going to release it because there's nothing else I can do. It just keeps looping in my mind, and it keeps me awake at night, and it makes me anxious. But there's nothing I can do to change the situation. Therefore, I may as well just release it
Just let
and
it
open
go.
up some space in my mind and in my heart to fill it with some fresh energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first one, identifying what's holding you back, um, kind of identifying your blocks with things. And sometimes a block is a very physical thing, and sometimes a block, well, more often a block is actually some pattern that we've developed in our own minds. And we often don't see the ways that we stop ourselves, from it's almost like a little bit of self-sabotage. And sometimes we get almost all the way, and then
Mm-hmm.
something happens at the
Then
last
you
moment,
stop.
and we don't actually see that it's us sometimes are contributing to that block.
Mm.
And that sort of, the fear of actually achieving something and moving on in life is quite fearful. It's quite
Mm.
an intense thing to do. So we do a release with that. We do a fire ceremony, and the assignment is that we write down everything that we want to release. We burn it, and then the community posts, if they want to participate, they post videos and images of them burning the past,
Mm.
and releasing it, and then letting the wind take it off into the air,
Mm.
and just scatter it. And it's a very you feel it
Mm.
physically in your body and mentally as well, and emotionally, that you've released this. And when the wind comes along and blows the ashes of that paper away, you feel cleansed and lighter.
Mm.
It's an amazing feeling. So you enter into this karma contract, you sign, and you say this contract is completed, you burn it, and then that's gone. So now we're moving on. And what we want to do is really identify what it is that you want to manifest. And sometimes it's so big and it covers so many areas of your life that you just can't possibly break it down on your own. There's just too much. So Yasmin teaches us how to break down any goal of any size into baby steps, doable steps. So in the workshop, she'll teach you how to identify certain stages within whatever it is that you want to manifest, and then break them down. And then we create a plan from that. So it's more about your energy goes, or rather your energy flows where your focus goes. So if you're focusing on too many things, or rather your focus is split too many different ways because you've got a lot of plates spinning, you're not really going to have much success in seeing any forward progress, because there are too many things. You're split too many different ways. And if I can give you an analogy for that, you know, when you're on your computer and you're downloading a load of files, which we often do as a team, we exchange a crazy amount of large size files, and you're downloading, when Yasmin sends me all her TikToks and I have like 90 video files to download, and I just download them all, and they're all whirling away, and each one of them has like 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left, and they're all at the bottom of my screen, and they're all downloading, and it takes ages, and I have to walk away in the end and just let it all download. But if I were to download each file one by one, it would be so much easier, because then, you know, it would be done. So it's a little bit like that, is that you need to stop splitting yourself and your focus too many ways. So understand what's going to be a priority for you, do the thing that is going to move you forwards the most, and then bring the other things in later. So that's what we do in the second day. The third day is really, I think, probably quite a big turning point for most people. So day 3 is called Knowing You're Worth It. And Yasmin came up with an absolute stroke of brilliance with this one. So the assignment at the end of the workshop, the assignment is to show that you're worth it. So what we have is, as we go through life, you know, the way we're raised by our parents, the way we are socialized in our schooling, the way that, you know, culturally, we relate culturally to the area that we grew up in. All of these things have an impact on us. And, you know, so many people grow up with hearing negative values about themselves. You know, you'll never achieve anything, you're too stupid, you've got the wrong body type, you're too big, you're too small, you're a woman, or you're a guy, or, you know, you don't have any qualifications, or you're not bright enough, or just all of these negative statements. And when you're at an age where those become part of your thought processes and the way in which you approach your life, they're very deeply embedded down in who you are as a person. So day 3 is about kind of raising your awareness of that, bringing some light to it so that you can see what it is and that you can start to work on it. So the assignment is the acknowledgement of that, of you seeing it for what it is, breaking the cycle and saying, from today, I'm rewriting the books. I'm saying I am worth it. So you start off in this assignment. It's very powerful. You record yourself, if you're brave enough, and submit it to the community. And you'll say, you know, I've been told this and this and this, but that's BS. You know, and then you say what you are. You know, I'm powerful. I'm an artistic person. I'm this. I can achieve anything I want. Whatever it is that you want to say, you know, to yourself, it's really giving advice to yourself. And then you share it, and that's really powerful. The first time we did that, hundreds, I mean, literally, we had thousands and thousands of submissions. And I think it probably brought all of us to tears of joy, of just wowness, you know, is the only way I can describe it. It was absolutely stunning. And to see all of these people just calling out all of this BS from their past, all of these negative, you know, advice they'd been given. You're this, you're that, you're not enough this, you're not enough that, you're too much this, you're too much that. in reality, according to Moonology and this manifesting system, everybody is absolutely perfect. You have everything you're going to have, and you have everything you need and you could possibly want in order to manifest the life of your dreams. And it's about calling out society and socialization and conditioning to have you believe one thing when none of that is true. There's just a
Mm.
social construct. And actually, the only reality that you need is the one that you create for yourself and your families and your loved ones. So that's day 3. I've just got my notes here to.
Mm. That's very powerful. I've seen some of those videos, and it's easy to also think, hey, that happens to me as well. And there's a lot of things
Yeah.
that you start to believe because you hear them so often.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just crazy, really, when you think of all the things that you hear from your teachers. I mean, we're all adults, and we're
Mm.
successful in the world, and we've got our lives and our partners and our our creative outlets and all the other things. And of course, every single person always has a list of wishes that they want to achieve, whether it's just about travel, whether it's about transforming their life or setting themselves free in
Mm.
some way. But deep down, even the most successful people deep down have that self-doubt
Mm.
that we're not born with that. It's not innate. It's given to us by others, by people outside of us, by envy or by, other means. And
Mm-hmm.
actually we don't realize how much we absorb, and it creates a self-doubt within us. And day 3 is about blowing that out of the water. So then after that, what do we do? Just to have a break for a moment. Sorry, I've lost my notes here. I can't seem to
Yeah, no
find
worries,
them.
no worries. So we're through days 1 through 3,
3.
and we're all posting that on Facebook. Some people are sharing the pictures of the things that they're burning. We're gonna show you guys some of those on the video, and it's very empowering to see this entire group coming together. And we know that we have so many people logged in, although we have so many submissions coming in. There are still people who are just watching on the sidelines, but they're participating. And I feel that's really powerful, especially when you're coming from a place where you're not ready to express yourself. And it's amazing to see other people do that before you. And that's what helps you go through the challenge. Because, like what you said, Nina, earlier, it's a very intense and difficult. It's called a challenge for a reason because it's not easy. When you go
Right.
through day 3, and I hear all these women saying, I'm worth it. And I think about there's that fear that's sort of keeping you from saying it because you feel like, am I arrogant for saying it? Am I full of myself for saying I'm worth this thing that I want? And I think that's it's really such a release to know that you are, right?
Right. It is. And we all did the exercise. I did it as well in my house, and I recorded myself. And in the beginning, you feel a bit of a fool talking to the camera, blowing your own trumpet, saying, "I'm worth it.
Mm.
I am amazing, and I will achieve this, and there's nothing stopping me." And you do have that in the back of your mind. People are going to think, wow, so arrogant doing that. But actually the community is amazing, and everybody either watched them or submitted their own videos, and it was all over Twitter and Instagram and
Mm.
all the other social media platforms. And it was like a spark and a wave. And a couple of people did it early on, and with Yasmin's audience, our Moonology audience is right across the world, from the Far East all the way to North America. So we've got the full 24-hour wave of
Mm.
people doing it, and it just grew and grew and grew throughout the day. And then obviously North America comes last because of the time difference, California, Hawaii, and that's sort of like where the wave finished. And it was amazing. It went on for 3 days. um, and it was incredibly powerful. And everybody in our Facebook community was incredibly supportive and positive and encouraging, and nobody's there to judge, because everyone there has the same common goal in mind, is that they want to learn this effective method of manifesting, working with the moon and using the law of attraction to make these changes in their life, to transform their life. So it was really something, yeah, it was astounding. It was a very emotional moment for everybody.
That's the first time I did it, I felt that exact same thing you mentioned. Okay, so after the knowing your worth, what comes next?
So then we've cleared the decks, we've made this statement, we've set this declaration to the world and to ourselves. So next comes the first step in identifying what it is that we want, and quantifying that in very specific terms. And the way that the workshop takes place is that Yasmin teaches a number of techniques, such as creative visualization. And I think this comes from a very interesting story. So when a long, long time ago, when Yasmin was still a professional journalist working in media, she drew this book cover. When she had a dream board and manifesting, she always wanted to write this book, and she drew this book cover. And many years later, when she published a book, this book cover, which was done by the artist through the publisher, was actually almost exactly the same. And it really struck her how, when you create something, when you physically create something via drawing it, or a dream board, or making something very, very, tangible, that actually is a very powerful tool to help you to manifest. So the creative visualization is about, you have to imagine yourself, who are you in your whatever it is that you've manifested. Who are you now? You have to believe that you have already manifested the things that you want to manifest. And how does your day look like? When you wake up, what do you see? How do you feel? What do you have for breakfast? What does your kitchen look like? How do you get to your office if you're working? What does your morning exercise routine look like? How do you work throughout the day? How is your day structured? What do you even smell? What plants are around you? What aromas do you see? What colors? How does the decor look? What kind of car are you driving? I mean, these are material things, they're constructs, but they do actually create a very powerful visual in our mind. And because of the physiology, the way our brain works, it can't decipher between reality and creative visualization. So the thought goes that if you can creatively visualize it, you can actually bring it to life, and it works. And Yasmin can give you many, many more examples of that. For example, when she was living in Australia, she wanted to move to London and buy a house in London. And on her manifestation board, she pinned all these pictures of houses that looked like the type of house she wanted to live in. But when she was at one of her workshops teaching, some of her students said, but where are these pictures you've got on your wall? Where are they? And she said, oh, this one's in LA, but I thought it would look, it's actually the decor I wanted. Although the house is in LA and I want to live in London, the decor is of a similar type to what I wanted. And then another one was in a different part of the world. And they'd said to her, no, that doesn't work. You have to, if London is where you want to live, you have to only use pictures and cutouts and images and drawings of houses in London. So she did that, and her plan moved forward much more rapidly than it ever had done. So you have to be really crystal clear on what it is that you want to manifest, and behave and think and feel the way that you would if you were already there. Imagine that you've already manifested that thing, that situation, and behave like that. So you're conditioning your body and your mind to think like and behave like the person who has already manifested. You see?
Like it's already happened. You're living it already.
You're living it already. You're living it, and it's about, comes down to the everyday reality. When you've manifested that thing, whether it's a new house or a new job or launched a business or relocated to a different part of the world, how is your daily life? Because, right, our daily habits define us.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That
Yeah.
is true. Okay. So what's the next step after that?
So the next step after that then is we're up to day 5. So day 5 is affirming your commitment to what you want to manifest. So this is where we actually start to bring in some of the Moonology techniques. And if people have the Moonology oracle cards or any of the oracle cards, we start to bring those in. So the workshop is quite interesting because it's about the notion of creating an altar or a crystal grid or some resource of power that will help you to boost your manifesting, will help to power what it is that you want to bring into your life. It will help to empower that and boost it. So the workshop is about using crystals, and you actually design a specific crystal grid for new moon and for full moon. You create an altar, and you create the altar with intentions and cards if you have them, and crystals and other things, plants and things that represent what you want to bring into your life. So this is about affirming your commitment and literally showing the universe, this is what I'm manifesting. This is what I'm bringing to life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So after that, we move on to the last 2 days, and I think they're a little bit different, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in the last 2 days, the challengers and the challenge community link up with people, other moonologists, people that always come to the moon ceremonies. So Yasmin always has at least three moon ceremonies each month. The dark moon ceremony, which is day 6 of the challenge, the new moon ceremony, which is day 8 of the challenge, and then the full moon ritual, which is sometime later on, when at the time of the full moon, right? So the dark moon on day 6, this is when you want to just release everything. Okay, you've made your plan, you've set your intentions, you've built your altars, you've created your drawings or your visualizations, you've done the work, and now you just need to release it. You need to just clear everything away and get ready to start manifesting. So on day 6, you do the dark moon ceremony, the dark moon ritual, which is a live ritual, and you go through, and it depends on the cycle of the moon. So the new moon takes place in a different house each month. So depending on where the moon is going to be taking place on day 7 is what happens during day 6. So it's about there's some chanting, and we do group chanting. Sometimes use fire or water to clear the air, to clear the energies. Some chanting with Goddess Kali. There are a few meditations as well. So it's there's some guided meditation and music, and Yasmin leads the workshop, and that is day 6.
Mm-hmm. And then what is the difference with the other days?
Yeah, so on the other days, you're working independently on the assignments, the challenges for each of the days, as well as sharing them with the group. But on day 6, it's a group, it's a community vibe, and that's, you know, the collective,
Mm-hmm.
if you like, the conscious collective come together on day 6 with everybody, not just people from the challenge, but everybody who's interested in clearing the energy, doing some release work, chanting and grounding, and just getting ready to start the new cycle.
Mm-hmm. And then day 7.
Day 7 is the new moon. Day 7 will always be the new moon, and depending on which month you do a challenge, the new moon will be taking place in a different house each time. So the new moon ceremony is different each time. Again, it's led by Yasmin, and the new moon is all about setting intentions. So depending on where your rising sign is, and you can find that out by going on Yasmin's website and filling in the free natal chart,
Mm-hmm.
their birth chart report. The report will be emailed in to you, and you'll be able to see what your rising sign is, your ascendant. So when the new moon takes place in whatever sign, you look at your rising sign and see what that means for you particularly. So that new moon might be helpful for you in a particular way depending on your rising sign.
Mm.
And you use the energy of that new moon to boost yourself, to power your intentions forward. So at the time of the new moon, it's like a little bit like a rocket taking off. That's when all the energy comes together to focus on achieving those intentions that you've set. And everything that you do, the thoughts that you have, your breath work, your focus, your energy, your daily activity, you always come back to those intentions that you set, whilst the new moon is waxing and growing in size and intensity.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for taking me through the 7 days. That really, now that you break it down, I begin to realize it's a lot. It really is a
It's a
lot,
lot, yeah.
7 days. And it makes sense not to do the full 30 days because I feel at some point, like the waxing and the waning cycle of the moon,
Mm,
you feel there's a downtime where you're not ready for things like this. And I think that really
yeah.
brings together the importance of doing this with a community. So we
Mm,
mentioned we have a Facebook group where people would post their achievements, and I feel like at the beginning when you mentioned you clear your energies, you channel Mary Kondo to
mm,
take out what doesn't spark joy. It helps to see other people do it as well. So you start there with
mm,
an inspiration, with motivation, knowing other people are doing it, and then once you
yeah.
get to knowing your worth, that's when the hard part comes in. You want to see people who will tell you that it is BS, because sometimes it's hard to say that yourself. If let's say you're a woman, and I feel like a lot of women can understand this. They were told you're a woman, you're supposed to do this, you're
Mm,
expected to do this, and I feel that you accept that truth at some point. And I'm sure there is an equivalent to other genders as well. You're a man. You're expected to be strong. You're not expected to feel bad even if you're
yeah.
wronged. And I feel that knowing your worth, it's very important to see other people doing it as well, because everybody else is trying to break down these
Mm.
false truths that they have been trying to live with their entire lives. And
I think yes, what you about the genders there, I think it's very true for all genders that we can appreciate it from one perspective, but everybody has a unique perspective, and
exactly.
people are born into the world, and as a baby you grow up, and as you grow up people project onto you. They
Mm,
project the past onto you, they project unresolved things onto you, they project um, situations that weren't just onto you, and
mm,
it almost becomes your burden to carry. So I think it doesn't matter who you are or what your situation in life. I think most people go through life, have the same challenges to overcome. The relationship with yourself, the relationship that you have with other people, the relationship that you have with the world, and how you put what it is, why you here, when you find your purpose, what are you here to do, what are you here to say, what are you here to change. I think going through the challenge helps people to really connect with that. And
mm,
I think that's why, although many of our challenges own their own copy of the Moonology book, they own their own copy of the Moonology diary and the oracle cards, but they still enroll and come back every single month to do a challenge. And many of the challenges have come back 5 months, 6 months or
mm-hmm,
more to do a challenge. And that just shows how incredibly powerful it is. And I think Yasmin and myself, speak for both of us, would like to see as many people as possible for this challenge, to reach as many people as possible. And really, we know that it helps people,
mm-hmm,
and it helps them in unique ways. And it's such a simple system, but life is complex and people are complex. And this is so simple to do that we know that it works, and it's worked for everybody, even people that have come with no hope and
mm-hmm.
with blocks that they feel have been insurmountable. So let's get the Moonology Manifesting Challenge out there and get as many people as possible going through it. And even if you only go through it once, you've got the system, you've got the process, and you
Mm-hmm.
can just do it every month in your own way.
I love that. I love that. And I love how it says that it doesn't matter which walk of life you're from, we're all
Mm,
going through the same struggles. And
yeah.
if we do it together, it's going to be a lot easier.
Mm,
We've also seen a lot of successes. We've seen Em mention that she was on her second Moonology challenge and she got the her dream job. And then also Jen mentioned that she was losing weight and she was going through, she was getting to that her ideal weight and who is healthy and happy. And there's a lot more that some of them will flash here of
mm.
people manifesting their dream lives, getting their jobs, buying their homes, and we may have different ideas of what a dream life would be, but with here you see other people claiming it. It's easy to see that, hey, maybe I can do that too, right?
It's funny you should mention weight because, weight really isn't, weight is about imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
It's about an imbalance in health. And we all struggle with weight at some point in our lives. Most people do. But it's not, weight is not an isolated problem, right? It's much wider than that. It's linked to some kind of imbalance in life,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of imbalance of power. And so this is why when people do the Moonology Manifesting Challenge, they're able to start moving forward and making gains, is because they're releasing some of the blocks that have
Mm-hmm.
been holding them back. And, it might not even be of their own creation. They may have been blocks that have been placed on them by other people, burdens that have been placed on them by loved ones that they have, accepted and carried. And actually, it's really now affecting their health. So we do have a duty to live our best lives. We have a duty to ensure that we remain healthy, emotionally, physically, and in other ways. And it's, life is complex and it's hard to do that. It's hard to stay in balance, and that balance of power and the way that we relate to people and things and life and our approach. And I think something like this does help. It's not a magic bullet. It won't change your life
Mm-hmm.
overnight. It won't right all the wrongs. It won't magically turn you into a millionaire, but it's a process. And if you work with the process every month, you will make measurable gains, sometimes very quickly, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes longer. It depends on the complexity of the problem and how long it's been there. But you will release those blocks, and people will get through them and will feel supported using this challenge. And I think it's going to be helpful for so many people.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And that's, I think, what makes it important to do it every month. Just to.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, because problems don't go away, right?
That's.
You're not doing challenge anymore. I mean, old problems that you solve are replaced by new ones. That's the
Mm.
beauty of life, is that it is, you don't solve all the problems and then you arrive in this perfect place. Um, the whole point of the journey of life is that it's a set of challenges, and you will never get to a point where everything is the way you want it, which is why gratitude is important. It's
Mm.
important to, and one of a good daily habit to have is to write down 3 points of gratitude every day. What you're grateful for, the things that you have in your life where you are, and just be grateful.
Mm.
And expressing gratitude and really feeling that gratitude, and writing it down daily, whether you're doing the challenge or not, is a really good practice to cultivate a empowered manifesting
Mm.
mindset, to attract more of the same to you, because you attract whatever you give out, right? Which is what day 2 is about. Your energy flows where your focus goes. So if you're always focused on your problems, the universe is like, hey, great, they love
Let me give
problems,
you
let's
more.
do more.
That's true. That's
But
true.
if you're also then your energy flows in the gratitude that you have for just even the smallest things, the gratitude for having, food to eat,
Mm.
fresh fruit, clean water to drink, to get a good night's sleep, to be surrounded by people that love and support you. Just small things,
Mm.
everybody has something to be grateful
Yeah,
for.
that's true.
And that really really helps and supports your manifesting, because you attract more of the energy that you give out. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
mirror. The universe is a mirror. Whatever we
That's
give out, we get back.
that's true. And whatever it is you're grateful for now, there was some point in your life where you were wishing for it and you
Yeah,
manifested it.
true. That a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, that's great. So now that we've talked about the journey, can you tell me when our next journey to the Moonology Manifesting Challenge starts again?
Good point. I made a note here. So it's quite soon, actually. It
Oh,
is Friday, July 22nd. Um, and because of the way that we run the challenge, it doesn't matter what time zone you're in. So whether you're in like Australia, New Zealand, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in North America or South America or wherever you are, you can start the challenge. Once you've enrolled, you go into an account area where you log in. You've got all your challenge materials every day. And then, of course, there's the Facebook community. So Friday, the 22nd of July, and then it culminates on the new moon, which is taking place in Leo. I think on the 28th or 29th of July, depending on where you are in the world. So I guess there's going to be a link somewhere, right, that people
yes.
can click on to register.
Yes, we will add it at the bottom. And the website to go to is moonmessages.com/mmc. We'll have it here on the screen as well as on the show notes.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nina, for joining me today. That was really fun. It was good to really go through all of that because I remember when I joined the team, I had no idea what manifesting was or Moonology manifesting was to begin with, and now here we are talking about it.
Yeah, fantastic. I loved it. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on the Mostly Moonology podcast. And I'm going to sign up for the next challenge on the 22nd.
Yes.
I definitely need to get focused again on the intentions that I want to achieve. So I hope to see you all there. And
Absolutely.
you,
It's
Aileen, especially.
Yes, I will. I will be there too. I will be there too. I love
Amazing,
going through
amazing.
all of it. And thank you guys so much for joining us today. Next week, Yasmin will be back. We will have some more moon goddesses, angel astrology, and also Radley Valentine at some point. So if you guys are into that, please tune in, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.